Hi guys, today I'm here to review a very highly requested product that I mentioned in a recent haul, which I will link to up here. It is the Tarte Tarteist Contour Palette. First of all, I mean, the packaging. It is absolutely adorable. Looks like a big kind of gold compact. I jumped on this as soon as it came out because I'm about an NC43 at max, so I'm kind of in this weird in between of like, I'm more tanned than what people would consider a tanned skin tone, but I'm also not a deep skin tone. So I have a really hard time like finding contour palettes that would actually suit my skin tone that are actually cool toned, with a cool tone kind of contour powder in there. This was the first one that really jumped out to me, so I picked it up. It retails for 54 Canadian, 45 American, you lucky Americans with your amazingly strong dollar. But I thought that this looked like it was totally worth it. As I mentioned, the packaging is nice and compact, kind of sturdy as well, would be great for travel. The pans are a little bit smaller than I had anticipated, like the whole palette itself was a little bit smaller than I had anticipated. When I swatched it for the first time, you'll see my swatches now, I was pretty disappointed, honestly. They didn't have the same, I don't know, they just didn't swatch very nice. They looked a little bit patchy. The highlight and corrector shades that you would put under your eyes definitely didn't have as much pigment as I had hoped. In the Kat Von D palettes, when you look at the, what would be the kind of under eye highlighting shades, those are crazy pigmented. I'm still debating picking up the Kat Von D palette, even though I don't think it's gonna be suitable for me, but I wanted to try this one first because I knew the contour shade would actually work for me. I'm gonna go ahead and show you a demo now so you can see it in action. Under my first eye, you can see that I'm using the kind of more light highlight shade for the under eye. This is a matte cream shade and it is nice and brightening. And under my other eye, I'm using the correct shade, which is a bit more of a yellow powder. Again, it is much better when used with a brush. I'm using my e.l.f. small tapered brush. When swatched, I was like, oh no, these aren't gonna be good. But when you use the products with a brush, they look much better. I'm then going in with my Sigma F40 and the bronzer shade to bronze up the perimeter of my face. Then with my NARS Ita brush, I'm chiseling out my nose and around my cheekbones and under my jaw, and you can see it definitely does show up on my face. It is a nice cool toned powder. The most disappointing part of this palette is the highlight, and with highlighting, strobing, and just me being a highlighter junkie, I was extremely disappointed with this. It is a really hard dry powder, and the highlight itself is just not even a nice color. I don't know why they would go with a shade like this, because it is not at all universally flattering. So you can see it kind of on my skin there. It's okay for an inner corner highlight. And then in with the blush, which is a kind of cool toned pinky mauve shade. I didn't think I was gonna like this on my skin tone, but it is actually quite nice. But it definitely is not a blush that I would go out and purchase as a single. So that is the final look there in comparison with what my face looked like before any of the powders and contours. So if you haven't already gathered, I'm honestly not the hugest fan of this palette. It's not that it's like complete garbage by any means. It is a nice palette and I am happy that the contour shade actually works for me. But that being said, the highlight is just so disappointing. I can't see myself, like the whole idea behind this palette was like, great, I'm gonna be able to take this for travel. It's gonna make my life so much easier. But honestly, I think I'm gonna try and return it because it is just, it doesn't inspire me, doesn't make me feel excited, and I'm kind of like, I don't know, I would rather just take my contour powder that I use now, which is a NYX matte bronzer, and my under eye powders and highlights that I have picked out as a single, and I would just rather bulk up my luggage a little bit. I also kind of feel like, in a weird way, for some reason, after I put this on my face, after about an hour or two, it kind of starts to look a little bit muddled and it starts to fade away. It definitely doesn't have that same longevity as the Amazonian Clay blushes, because I have a blush palette of that and I really like it. Great creamy powdery texture. That doesn't really make any sense, but you know what I mean. But this, I don't know, after like an hour or two, I really just don't like the way that it looks on my skin. In my personal opinion, I'm gonna say it's a bit of a pass just because I'm not feeling super excited and like, yeah, that was 100% worth the 54 bucks. No, kind of wasn't. Let me know if you have tried this palette down below or what your favorite contour palette is down below. If you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at SamanthaJaneYT, and I'll see you guys next time.